everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Heather Knits podcast. I am your host, Heather, and I am coming to you from my home in mid-Michigan on a very beautiful, gorgeous April day. It has been gorgeous weather this week, and it's felt really good to open up windows and let some fresh air in and just get some sunshine and be outside and not be cold and all of that. I apologize if you pick up any background noise because I do have my window open and it's just too nice to have the windows closed. In fact, it's actually almost like bordering on hot, but the weather is supposed to turn next week. Anyway, I'm rambling about things that are not related to knitting. And this is primarily a podcast about knitting, as well as a little bit of things that are going on in my life. As I said, I am your host, Heather. I live in mid-Michigan with my two children, Abby, who is 17, and Philip, who is almost 13, which, again, all of these things are very hard to believe. I can't believe how quickly time goes, but time, it is flying. We are into April, and I am getting this up a little bit later than I intended to, so I apologize for that. So without babbling on about other things, I'm just going to jump right into the knitting stuff and show you what I've been working on. Most of what I've been working on are going to be things inserted in because I either don't have it or it's too big to show. I have one finished object, and that was a pair of socks that I knit for my friend for her birthday. And I knit them inside out. Well, I knit them right side out and then I turned them inside out because the pearl bumps bother her feet. So I've started doing them as like reverse stockinette. And so that is my finished object. I am going to insert a picture of that so you can see what those look like. The yarn that I use is from Plies and Hellhounds. It was the Tesla base, I believe, and the colorway was Insufferably Damp. I will link down below my Ravelry page where all of these projects are listed and are up to date with details and information. So do check there for that information. I don't do show notes per se here in the comments below or in the down bar, but there will be a link to my Ravelry page which will have all of that information for you. So if you want details, go there. So those are the socks that I made for my friend, and I haven't gifted them to her yet. They're all wrapped up, so I couldn't really like unwrap them and like have them here. So a picture will have to suffice. My other sort of finished object, but not really because it's part of a bigger project, is that I finished another square in the Pinwheel scrap blanket that I am working on. And this is the square. So this one is kind of like reds and pinks, another one of those to go into it. So that is done. I need to like look and see where I am at with all of my squares and kind of lay them out because I feel like I have 8 or 9 at this point. And I don't know how many I want. So I feel like I need to kind of lay them out to get an idea of how it's going to go and what other colors I might need to add and how many other squares I might need. So that's really it as far as finished objects go. I do have a couple of bigger works in progress. If you can't tell, I'm really liking very simple knits. Just basically knit stitch, and that's it. The socks were basically vanilla socks just turned inside out. These are just garter stitch as well. The other 2 blankets that I'm working on are just garter stitch. So I'm just very much wanting garter blankets. That's all that I'm really wanting to work on, and they're all like scrappy using like mini skeins or leftover bits, and that's just really what I think it's going to be the year of garter, honestly, because that's all I've really wanted to knit all year long. It's all I've really been able to knit from like a mental standpoint. I think I'm so emotionally, mentally, and physically fatigued that like anything more is just a little bit too much for me at the moment. So this is it. This is all that I'm doing. It's garter stitch. It's not super exciting to show, but that's it. So I am working on another square for the Pinwheel blanket, and I will show you my progress on that. So this one is kind of like yellows and oranges, because I discovered when I did it the first time that there isn't like a real big contrast between yellows and oranges with the yarn. So they're going to be like their own color scheme. And the same thing kind of with reds and pinks. They're going to kind of be their own thing, because one, these aren't colors that I have a ton of either, but they're so similar in their tones that it was really hard to distinguish. This is yellow, this is orange, this is red, this is pink, because it kind of is that, just that spectrum that runs across. So that's why it's reds and pinks and oranges and yellows. Greens, blues, and purples are a little bit different because I have a lot more of those colors. So I have a lot more that kind of classifies as greens, blues, purples. A little less so with, you know, reds, pinks, oranges, and yellows. But we're kind of going with that like rainbow sort of motif and color scheme with this blanket, as well as a second jelly roll blanket that I started. So I will insert footage of that now so you can see it. I kind of laid it out on my bed and then like took video of it so you could get a full effect of what it looks like. And I'm doing, again, rainbow, like reds, pinks, oranges, yellows, greens, probably like I have a lot that fall in between there too. We'll just kind of see how it ends up coming. Blues, purples, and kind of that motif will be what's happening with that blanket. I don't know like if I'll do another row of them. I'm not sure exactly how it will all end up coming together. We'll just kind of see. It's scrappy, so it's just like as I have the yarn, I'm putting it in. And you can see I've completed everything that I have with reds and pinks, and now I'm kind of working on a strip of yellows. And what I've been doing is putting in all of the colors that I've already put in my pinwheel blankets. I'm adding those. And then as I'm knitting more in that color, then I'm adding that in at the end. So that is another project that I'm working on. Again, garter stitch, scrappy blanket. Are you noticing a theme? My other work in progress is another jelly roll blanket. This project honestly has been like exactly what I've wanted. It's been what I've been craving. It's been like what I've needed to knit. It has been exactly the right thing for me. So that's why there's two of them, because it's just been the right thing. This one, and again, I will insert footage of this one as well, because this one is bigger, further along, and it's hard to hold up and show a blanket. But this one I'm knitting using all Legacy Fiber Arts DK Weight Minis. They're doing a club where every month they're dyeing like 6 DK Weight Minis, and that's what all of this yarn is going into this jelly roll blanket. I am knitting on my last mini for the month of March, so this is 3 months worth, and when I'm done, I'll have 4 complete strips of colors, and I think this is going to make a really nice size blanket. Again, it's just been what I've wanted to knit, and like I said, it's not super exciting to show, but it has been exactly what I have needed from a knitting perspective. It's been what my brain has needed. It's been the right thing for me. So that's it. That's my knitting. It's not a lot to say. There's not a lot to show for it, but that's what it is. I may start another pair of socks, and I've been thinking that I would like some more like shorty socks, especially now that like the weather is starting to get warmer. I wouldn't mind having some shorty socks so that when I do want to wear shoes, I don't necessarily have like a thick wool sock on. So I may use some leftovers, because shorties don't take a lot of yarn, especially with my feet not being very large. So I am thinking that some shorty socks might be coming. Phil is going to be running track, and those are very long meets. So having some good mindless portable knitting probably be a good thing for that. And like these squares work fine for this, but you do need like the multiple mini skeins, because obviously it's not all the same color. So that's an option as well. But I think maybe having some shorty socks to work on, I could probably come close to knitting an entire shorty sock at a track meet. I think that's possible. So that could be my track knitting once those start. Those don't start for another couple of weeks. I've got a little bit of time to figure it all out. But that's kind of it with the knitting. And like I said, I don't really have any big plans for anything coming because just this simple knitting has really been all that I've been wanting to knit. So I'm just all about the simple knits. Now, if you are only interested in knitting, that's completely fine. Feel free to end the video here. And thank you so much, though, for taking the time to hang out with me today. I appreciate that. If you are interested in a little bit more of what's been going on with us as far as our life stuff goes, feel free to stick around. So as far as things go in the life department, when I last recorded, I had just finished having like this functional capacity evaluation done, and I was still like recovering from that. And I will tell you that that evaluation took a lot out of me. It took so much more out of me than I expected it to. And the recovery and kind of bouncing back from that has been no joke. From a physical perspective, I feel like I'm probably just now getting back to like where I was before. So it's taken a month, a little longer than a month, to really kind of pull myself back around from a physical perspective. From an emotional and mental perspective, though, I've been a wreck. It's been a really difficult March. March was very hard, and I've really felt very out of it and disconnected and just really kind of struggled through March. I'm trying to kind of get myself back into it and be more present, but March I feel like I was completely checked out through March, and I feel really guilty about that with the kids, but I just didn't have the physical energy, I didn't have the emotional energy, I didn't have the mental energy, because that evaluation was so taxing and it took so much out of me. It was brutal. It was very brutal. We're kind of starting to come out of that now. The better weather has certainly helped a lot. Getting out and being in the sunshine, being able to open the windows and get fresh air has made a really big difference for me. So I'm starting to feel better. And I also want to kind of come back around and really be present, because Abby's senior year is wrapping up. She only has about 6 weeks left of school and she is graduating. And that's hard to believe. I'm just like, I don't even know. There are no words for this feeling and what all of that is. We got like this parent packet where it has like all of the graduation stuff, and now it all is like so real and it's coming up and it's really close. Whereas before it always seemed like, well, it's not till the end of the year. It's not till the end of the year. Well, now the weather's getting nicer and we're getting to the end of the year, and now it's like really real. So that's all like starting to hit home. And it's like, oh, okay, here we go. It's happening now. But this week, they're starting their diving program that she is helping initiate and kick off. We finally got everything sorted out for that, so that is officially getting started. She's been very excited about that. It's going to really be her part-time job over the summer and going into college. Her plans are just to go to the local community college and stay at home, which is completely understandable and fine. She's had a rough go of things, so she wants to stay close to home, and that's fine. And from a financial perspective as well, it makes the most sense too. So that is her plan, and she's going to keep doing this diving program through the school district and working up all of that and coaching and exploring all of those things that she's really kind of discovered a passion for, that she didn't know she had, that I didn't know she had, but it's been really great and exciting to see all of that kind of coming around and coming full circle for her. So that's been really nice. Phil is running track, as I mentioned. He really, really enjoys running, and that makes me feel really happy, because prior to getting COVID and then having the long COVID effects, I was a runner. I loved running. Spring is kind of tough because I really am itching to get out and run, and I can't. Like, I physically, it would be a very bad idea for me to try to run. But I love that he is really enjoying it and getting into it. He likes to run distance, and it's just been great to see him be excited about that. So that's been really good. He does have a couple ensembles coming up for band, solo and ensemble. He's doing a duet and a trio with a couple of friends of his, and he has started some private lessons for his trumpet because he is kind of wanting to excel and push himself in the band department. So he has started that as well. So lots of things going on. Still trying to get Abby's driver's license sorted out. She has a lot of anxiety around driving, so she isn't really wanting to put in the hours. So I'm kind of trying to get that nudging going, and like, you really do need to be able to drive. Like, this is kind of an important thing. So let's get the hours in and get you driving. So we are working on that. And like I said, just kind of going into the end of the school year and Abby graduating and all of those things. It's all been a whirlwind. But I think that's about it as far as all of the life stuff is going and happening. I know I'm going into a tough season through the month of May because that was when I found out about my mom, and she passed at the end of May, and there's Mother's Day. So I know I'm going to be going into a rough patch, and then kind of throwing Abby graduating on top of it. I think May is going to be kind of a tough month. So I will post something again at the beginning of May, and you can kind of see how I'm doing going into May. And then in June will be the real factor. How am I doing in June? I don't know. We will have to see. So yeah, I think that's about it. I know this one is a bit shorter, but there hasn't been a ton going on. It's just, like I said, March was tough. March was tough, but we're through it now. Weather is getting better. Just one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. That's all you can do sometimes. Anyway, thank you all for spending time with me. I do really appreciate it. I hope that if you are going into spring, that you are feeling that bit of life coming back to you. And if you are in the Southern Hemisphere and are starting to go into autumn and winter, I hope that you're able to kind of experience all of that coziness that those seasons bring to you as well. Again, thank you so much for spending time and hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate your time, and I will be back with you in a few weeks and kind of bringing you up to speed with all of these garter scrappy blankets, because that's what it's all about right now. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!